With more than 2 decades in advertising, marketing, and research, Kelly McDonald can show you how to reach diverse audiences with relevance and authenticity. And she can share important insights on how to manage an increasingly diverse workforce. Kelly has worked with companies of all sizes. Her clients include Toyota, Nike, State Farm, and Harley-Davidson. She's been featured on CNNMoney.com, SiriusXM Radio, Businessweek, and CNBC. Kelly literally wrote the book on how to market to people not like you. Kelly's session, Diversity in America, is a popular topic for companies that want to thrive in an environment of increasing differences. Here's a sample of this popular session.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, DuPont. I love to talk about diversity, and it's important and should be important to you because our culture has changed. You've probably all heard the old expression that America is a melting pot. And what that meant was that wherever you were from, whoever you were, you came to the United States, we sort of threw you into one pot and sort of simmered away all of your differences, and we all came out Americanized. The more modern expression now, though, is that America is no longer a melting pot, but in fact a salad bowl. And the reason it's called a salad bowl, because if you look at the actual elements of a salad, none of the pieces of the salad look like anything else. The carrot doesn't look like the radish doesn't look like the cucumber doesn't look like the tomato. You can see every element of the salad for what it really is. And most of us would agree that a salad that has all of these different things is a better salad. What does diversity look like, though? When I talk about diversity, a lot of people tend to think racial and ethnic diversity, and that's important, and I think we're going to talk about that too. But it's more than that. I think diversity comes in many forms. This is just my list, but let's take a look at it. Gender. Men are different from women, and all kidding aside, it really is true. We operate totally differently. What about religious differences? That's probably never been quite as much in the media as it is right now. Age and generational differences. The boomers are very different from the matures, who are different from Gen X or Gen Y. The gay and lesbian market. Physical abilities. Those who have physical challenges are going to face certain things that people who don't have physical challenges don't face. What about rural versus metro? Someone who lives in a rural area is going to be very different than someone who lives in Manhattan. And political beliefs. What about even military versus civilian? Those are two totally different worlds. And of course, racial, white, African American, Asian, and Native American, but also ethnic and linguistic differences. For example, Hispanic is not a race, it's an ethnicity, or Asian Indian. Nativity. I think someone who's foreign born is going to look at the United States with a very different lens than someone who's US born. Life stage. A new mom or a new dad is going to be in a very different place emotionally, financially, priority-wise than someone who's a retiree, someone who's a college student, or someone who's an empty nester. Lifestyle and affluence. The working poor are very different from the middle class, who are different from the wealthy. And what about core values? Someone who's a hardcore environmentalist or a vegan or a vegetarian or someone who homeschools their child is going to be different than someone who doesn't homeschool their child. Those are core values that can reflect the way that you do business. And there's even diversity within diversity. This is a chart of the US-Asian composition. And if you look at this chart, you can see that, there's not even a common language among these different groups, much less alone common foods or traditions or holidays, and yet we lump them into all one group, call it Asian. Same thing with Hispanic. With Hispanic, at least there's a common language, that being Spanish. But again, someone who's Cuban is going to have different foods, different holidays, different traditions than someone who's Venezuelan or someone who's Mexican. And in the United States right now, 1 in 9 people are foreign born. 1 in 9. Also, for the first time ever, the composition of the workforce in the US is equal between men and women. That's never happened before. There have always been more men in the US workforce than women up until last year. I believe that understanding someone who's different from you, whether it's a coworker inside your shop or whether it's your customer base, is less about focusing on their race or the shape of their eyes, the color of their skin, and more about the experiences that define them and make them them. That's what really defines all of us. There are 48.7 million Latinos in the United States. And if you're anything like me, intellectually, I know that that's a large number, but I have to have a framework for it to get my head around how large it is. So let me give you some context. That now makes the United States the second largest Hispanic country in the world. More context. There are more Latinos living in the United States than there are Canadians in Canada. And the Hispanic population is the fastest growing ethnic group in the United States. So let me speak with you now about some strategies for success. The first strategy that I would offer to you is to be relevant. You cannot connect with any new marketplace or any new customer group or any new employee group if you're not relevant to them. You've got to figure out what do people want, and if you can possibly give it to them, give it to them. The Angelica Theater in Dallas, where I live, is an art house film place. And if you think about their business, that's a tough business. What's the deadest time of the week for the movie business? Mornings. Even the seniors don't come out till the afternoon, right, for the matinees. And yet you have everything, right? You got the milk duds, you got the popcorn, you got the movie, you just don't have any customers. So they were really smart and they said, wait a minute, what about new moms? What about new moms? Just because you've had a baby doesn't mean that you're no longer interested in film. You're the same woman, still have the same needs and interests and likes and dislikes, but now you've got a baby. So it's going to be harder for you to get out of the house and go see a movie. But boy, if there was ever anybody who needs to get out of the house, it's a new mom, right? She's climbing the walls. But it's problematic because now I've got this baby and I want to go see a movie and it's kind of hard. I got to figure out the child care thing. And if I don't figure out the child care thing and I go to the movie theater and I bring my little baby and my baby starts fussing, then people go, shh, and they hate you, right? So they don't go. They just don't go. It's just too much hassle. So this particular art house film place opened up a new thing called the Crybaby Matinee. 11 o'clock in the morning, timed for baby's first nap. No men allowed, so that women can breastfeed comfortably. Baby changing area in the back of the movie, so that if you have to change a diaper in the middle of the movie, you don't have to miss a minute of the movie. And you know what? If your little loved one starts fussing during the movie, chances are the other mothers are going to be completely sympathetic, right? The place is absolutely packed. There's a lot of blunders about this, folks, and people who ought to know better don't. There's a law firm in Kansas City that is predominantly white, and they are making huge, huge efforts to diversify their partners and their associates because they know they have a problem. They know that they are not representative of the future going forward. So they are making huge diversity efforts. Their heart is in the right place. And one of the things that they do with their senior partners is they match their senior partners up with minority associates for mentoring because they want these people to do very, very well. So a partner who is an older white gentleman was taking one of the young associates who's African American out to lunch. And they go to lunch, and the older white partner says, so, tell me, where are your people from? Oh, it gets worse. And the young man says, Kansas City. And the older partner says, no, but where are your people from? And the young man has no idea what he's talking about. He thinks, well, maybe he's talking about my grandparents over, and he said, Kansas City. My whole family's from Kansas City, always have been. And he said, oh, no, I'm talking about what tribe in Africa are your people from? A law firm. They could get sued for that. It's unbelievable. Or, you know, these types of comments that we hear in focus groups all the time. You know, talking louder does not make me bilingual. Finally, I want to leave you with some thoughts going forward. I don't think that you should think that diversity is something you need to get ready for. I don't think that you should feel like, ooh, I got to get ready for this, I got to prepare. It's coming. Folks, it's already here. Every single day, in your communities, in your shops, with your workers, with your customers, you're already working with diverse groups. You already are. You've just got to make sure that you're paying more attention to this going forward as a true aspect of an ongoing part of your business. It's got to be part of your business plan. It can't be an afterthought, and it can't just be something that happens. And that 2010 census that was taken this year is going to be published in February. And let me tell you, folks, there's going to be two major news stories that you're not going to be able to escape. They're going to be everywhere. And it's going to be like a tidal wave. And the first news story is going to be 1 in 3 Americans are not white. And the second news story is going to be about the explosive growth of the Hispanic population. What's going to happen when that 2010 census comes out is people who have not been paying any attention to the diversity in this country are going to start paying attention, and the arena is going to get much more crowded. But you have a window of opportunity right now and going forward to think about this and plan for this and build your businesses so that you're best able to capture the diversity opportunities that are around you and that have a significant competitive edge. So, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, DuPont. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.